One team from the Mississippi Valley Conference tournament, or I should say from the Mississippi Valley Conference, has won a tournament championship. That is Cedar Rapids Prairie. Now another one, Iowa City West, steps onto the floor against the Hoover Huskies. Boy, what a banner year for that conference, Jim.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be impossible to happen. People say, well, now how can two teams from the same conference win two different state championships? But the way some of those leagues are formed, they have 3A and 4A teams together.
And so Iowa City West at 22-1, rated and seeded third in this tournament behind Hoover and Sioux City West. But, of course, West knocked off in the quarterfinals, getting ready to meet the Hoover Huskies, ranked number 1 in the state, undefeated. And it should be really quite a matchup between two teams that have had great success. Let's take a closer look at Iowa City West. And, Jim, a lot of their success really starts with their intense defensive play.
Well, Steve Bergman has always stressed defense. He turned a program around there that for some reason had never won at all, and he's turned it into a big-time winner with aggressive style, physical, tough defense. But he's got some good offensive players, too, as we've seen during the tournament, like Ryan Bogart, who has just done a great job. And I think Glenn Worley's going to be a key tonight. He's an outstanding sophomore. He's getting 14 points a game or so. Can he raise that up tonight and be the big guy in terms of making the difference in a championship game?
And speaking of big guys, inside, Glenn Worley, a 6'7" sophomore. What a game yesterday. 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks against Waterloo East.
Well, he's going to have to be good because on the other side with Hoover, you come with some big guys, too. Danielson, 6'9", 220, and T.J. Welton, 6'6", about 220. So Worley's going to have to kind of carry the load inside, possibly, for Iowa City West.
You mentioned Ryan Baumgart. He had 22 points against Waterloo East yesterday. Not only is he a good offensive player, but Steve Bergman says he's the best defensive player he's ever coached.
Well, Ryan Baumgart's an excellent player, and he's scored 20 points, I think, in the last 2 games. He's really peaked at the right time. He's their go-to guy from the outside. His challenge will be, will he be the guy that has to play the defense on Newman, and will that wear him down a little bit and keep him from being as good a scorer, or will they be able to put him on maybe the three-point shooter Rude or Brian Foster? So it's going to be interesting to see how those matchups happen on the perimeter.
The Hoover Huskies are blessed with one of the great point guards in state history. Go back to Dean Oliver last year, and right up in that category is this guy, David Newman.
Well, David Newman is just such a great player because he makes the other guys better. He may average 17 points a game, but I hate to say that's kind of an after-the-fact stat. What he does is penetrate, and get the ball to people for easy baskets. Can they stop him from doing that? No one else has yet.
There's one of the big recipients, T.J. Welton. What a tournament. He has scored 54 points in the first 2 games.
Well, he's averaging 20 a game in the regular season, but he's averaging 27 in the tournament. And again, he's a very steady player. He doesn't try to be spectacular. He's so fundamentally sound in the post area, and he takes advantages of mistakes.
Newman, a 4-year starter. Welton, a 3-year starter. Lots of experience, lots of talent on the floor for the Hoover High Huskies. Iowa City West and Des Moines Hoover getting ready to square off in the 4A championship game. We'll be back with the starting lineups after this word from your local station.
Your Ford dealer is on a roll because great rates on 98 are back and better than ever with low 1.9 financing on 6 popular Fords. Choose the X2, Escort, Contour, Doris, Windstar, or Explorer and get the best financing offer of the year. Low 1.9 financing for up to 36 months. Or choose a longer term and get 2.9 for 48 months. Or great cash back on select models. Great rates on 98. 6 great Fords. 1 great deal at your neighborhood Ford dealer today.
These days, people are putting so many things on burgers, they hardly seem like burgers anymore. At Hardee's, we think it's time to go back to those classic ingredients that make a burger taste great. The kind of things you'll find on Hardee's new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger. 2 big, juicy patties, melted cheese, 8 strips of crispy bacon, lettuce, tomato, and special sauce. The new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger, only at Hardee's.
There's no question Roundup Ready technology is great, but that doesn't mean all Roundup Ready soybeans are the same. You got to think about the genetics, agronomic traits, and defensive package. Because without those, you don't have the yield. Once you roll it around in your head, you'll know there's a difference. Asgrow Roundup Ready soybeans, Agri-Marketing Magazine's Product of the Year.
The 1998 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament is brought to you in part by Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Iowa. You just can't beat the Blues. By the Iowa Bankers Association and your local Iowa bank. Make the smart choice and Iowa Bank. By Ag Value Growth Foundation, our future's on the table. And by Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
Live coverage of the Iowa Boys State Basketball Tournament on KCRG is brought to you in part by Novartis, makers of Go-To Magnum, by National Propane, proudly headquartered in Iowa, by your local Ford dealer, and by Hardee's.
Iowa City West and Des Moines Hoover complete their warm-ups, and while they do, let's go downstairs to John Campbell.
Thank you, Larry. We are now joined by Bill Horn, a corn and soybean producer from the Rockwell City area. He's also a member of the Governor's Ag Value Growth Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that group, what that's about.
Well, the foundation was formed in September of '97, so we're a pretty new group. The governor put this group together to promote value-added agriculture, and we've been very active in the short time we've been together.
What have you been doing to spread the message?
Well, we've been involved in some newspaper ads, some television spots, trying to make all Iowans aware of the value of agriculture, and specifically value-added agriculture, where we add value to crops.
You know, we hear that term a lot, value-added. Explain a little bit more what that means.
Well, the one that most people are familiar with, of course, is adding value through livestock. When corn and soybeans are fed to livestock in Iowa, it increases the value fivefold. But there's other ways to increase that value also, and we're just on the verge of a lot of those areas now. We can genetically modify crops to add value to them so they process better, so they're healthier, so they give more value to consumers. And agriculture producers like myself are just on the verge of being able to contract to grow those kinds of crops in the state and add tremendous amount of economic activity here in Iowa.
You may have touched on this a little bit already, but why this push for the value-added?
Well, about 50% of the corn and soybeans that are raised in Iowa today are exported across state lines. And the value is added somewhere else by somebody else. We just as well be adding that value here in Iowa, creating those jobs and that economic activity for our state, not somebody else's.
Bill, thank you very much for joining us. Bill Horan joining us here between games. Larry?
All right, John, we await the 3A, or I should say the 4A championship game. The 3A went to Cedar Rapids Prairie. They defeated Harlan by a score of 53-48. Now the 4A title game coming up between undefeated Hoover and once-beaten Iowa City West. And on the coaching sidelines, two really outstanding young coaches, in Bobby Sandquist in his 9th year at Hoover and Steve Bergman in his 8th year at West.
You know, Bobby had a great team a couple years ago and got upset, and I know he's really looked forward to try to have an opportunity to come back. And on that team was David Newman as a freshman, and he played on an outstanding team, but by golly, now as a leader, back then he was the fifth cog, you know, as a young freshman. Now he's the leader of this team. He remembers that experience. He wants to take home that trophy this time.
Of course, Newman about to play major college basketball. He's headed for Northwestern University in Evanston, where his coach, Kevin O'Neill, said from day one he is our starting point guard.
Well, I think that he certainly has the potential to do that. The toughest thing about starting as a freshman is getting through the first 6 weeks of practice and not getting beat up too badly. So he'll have to get on those weights a lot, because that college basketball is very physical, but he certainly has the mental and physical tools to play the game.
Let's take a look at the road to state, starting with the Trojans. Trojans in the quarterfinals with a good defensive effort, holding Urbandale to 36. In that ball game, Ryan Baumgart came up with 6 steals. And then the semifinal game, which we watched yesterday, Jim, another defensive battle.
Well, they've done a great job on defense all year. That's two teams that don't get 40 points. If they can hold, I will predict this, if they hold Hoover to below 40, they'll win tonight.
Yeah, that's a real safe prediction, I would say. As far as the Hoover Huskies, their road to state has been a mite easier.
Boy, they've just been dominant in their games, and they've been dominant offensively, but their defense is good, too. You know, sometimes you can think a team, because they're good offensively, they're not good defensively. But the margin of victory is a big factor in their scores, and that's quite a margin of victory. They play good defense also.
Huskies in their new white uniforms. They're really next year's uniforms. Bobby Sandquist said, you get the top seed, you can wear them at state this year. And so they are. Now time to meet the participants in this championship game. Here's Father Craig Collison.
It's time for basketball. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Veterans Auditorium and the 1998 Boys State Basketball Tournament. This is the championship game in Class 4A, and it features the Trojans of Iowa City West and the Huskies of Des Moines Hoover. Let's meet the non-starters and assistant coaches of both schools. For the Trojans, number 0 is Brett Johns. Number 5, Curtis Jones. Number 14, Ryan Kopstick. Number 23, Sean Lewis. Number 30, Bernard Gatlin. Number 32, Gerard Gatlin. Number 34, Dussel Ridgely. Number 40, Otis Bunning. Number 44, Joe Jackman. And number 50, Jeff Gordon. The assistant coaches of the Iowa City West Trojans, Mr. Mike Bevilacca, Mr. Pat McCool, Mr. Jeff McMillan, Mr. David Lane, and Mr. Chris Thorson. Here are the non-starters and assistant coaches of the Huskies. Number 10, Chris Fenrick. Number 12, Brad Gibson. Number 14, Jeremiah May. Number 20, Robert Corradis. Number 22, Jason Corradis. Number 32, David Buckley. Number 40, Steve Rude. Number 42, Derek Johnson. Number 44, Andrew Moss. And number 52, Burrell Riley. The assistant coaches of the Hoover Huskies, Mr. Brian Larson, Mr. Charles Sanders, Mr. Don Skinner, Mr. Pat Lawler, and Mr. Haywood Boston. And now, here are your starting lineups for the 22-1 Trojans of Iowa City West and the 23-0 Huskies of Hoover. For the Trojans, a 6'5" sophomore, number 42, Kevin Long. For the Huskies, a 6'5" senior, number 50, T.J. Welton. For the Trojans, a 6'2" senior, number 20, Ryan Baumgart. For the Huskies, a 6' senior, number 34, David Rude. For Iowa City, a 6'7" sophomore, number 54, Glenn Worley. For the Huskies, a 6'9" junior, number 54, Greg Danielson. For the Trojans, a 6-foot senior, number 24, Chris Akbar. For the Huskies, a 6-foot senior, number 30, Brian Foster. For the Trojans, a 5'10 junior, number 22, Bruce Davis. And for the Huskies, a 6-foot senior, number 24, David Newman. The head coach of the Iowa City West Trojans, Mr. Steve Bergman, and the head coach of the Des Moines Hoover Huskies, Mr. Bobby Sandquist. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the officials assigned to this contest by the Iowa High School Athletic Association. The referee, Mr. Rod Hill of Bentendorf. The umpire, Mr. Tim McMahon of Davenport. And the bench official, Robert Oldus of Iowa City. And now, let's play basketball.
Iowa City West, 22-1. Hoover, 23-0. Jim, I think an interesting battle in the middle. 6'7" Worley, a sophomore. 6'9" Danielson, a junior.
Quickness of Worley against the strength and size of Danielson. It'll be an interesting matchup. See if one of them gets in foul trouble. Are they going to be able to stay in the game? I think that'll be a factor in this game.
Hoover in white, Iowa City West in green. The Trojans have won 16 in a row. The Huskies have won all 23. The 54s, Worley and Danielson to start the ballgame with a center jump control by Hoover. Danielson a 2-inch height advantage, and he took advantage of it. And it belongs to Hoover.
Start out with Davis guarding Newman. That was kind of, I wanted to see who they would go at him with. So we'll see if they mix it up a little bit, or if they're going to, I know they bring Kopstick in too sometimes. We'll see how the matchups go in the guard position.
Again, the Trojans have played great defense in this tournament. Neither opponent has hit 40 points.
Well, it looks like he decided not to put Worley on Danielson to keep him out of foul trouble, but he's got his hands full in there with T.J. Welton, too.
Newman trying to get around Davis. That's T.J. Welton. Welton got off to a brilliant start in the semifinals yesterday. Ryan Foster works it inside to Welton. Welton puts a move on Worley, and Worley blocks it.
That's a big play right off the bat. They go to their key scorer, and Worley does a great job on defense, blocks the shot.
Bobby Sandquist on the bench for the Hoover Huskies. His 15th year as a head coach, his 9th year heading the Hoover program.
I think T.J. Welton will have to take the ball to Worley. He doesn't want to shoot a little fadeaway and give an outstanding jumper like Worley a chance to block his shot.
From the free throw line, the shot put down by Kevin Long. Long did not score in the semifinals. He changes that very quickly in the championship game.
Every game is so different. You just never know what's going to happen. That's why high school sports are so much fun to watch.
Danielson inside to score. He got inside Long to put it down to tie the score.
Well, they decided to put Kevin Long on Danielson. He gives away more than a couple inches, and Danielson made a great move inside with his left hand and made a power basket for him.
Danielson had a double-double yesterday in the semifinals.
You know, we saw the other day Foster do a great job on defense. Look who he's guarding tonight.
He's guarding Baumgart, yeah. Worley puts it in for the Trojans, and it's a 4-2 lead for Iowa City West.
Little contact coming down the floor that time between the big guys.
Rude out of the corner. Battle for the rebound between Foster and Worley. And the foul is going to be called on Brian Foster. On the bench for Iowa City West, Steve Bergman, who'd like us to say hello to his grandmother. Helen Collins has been in ill health recently in Grundy Center, his home. We hope that she's getting along well and enjoying our telecast tonight from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines.
I also like to say hello to my mother, Larry, who's been in the hospital for 8 weeks. Hope she's watching tonight and feeling a little bit better.
And I would add my greeting to yours, to your mom, Jim.
Thank you.
Worley, the intended feed, batted away by T.J. Welton.
I'll tell you, I'm excited about this game. There's some great matchups out there, some outstanding players. You can see a little different look in Iowa City West's eyes tonight now. They're not playing somebody in their league. They're really focused.
Chris Hackbarth, and he didn't score the other day, and he has got a 3 in this one early. So that looks good for Iowa City West. Two guys who didn't get off the schneid yesterday have already scored in this one, and they've got a lead of 5.
That's what you want. You want your players who aren't having big regular seasons to be able to rise up in the tournament and get a couple extra baskets.
Foster on the drive for the Huskies. You really like him, don't you?
He's done a great job in this tournament as being a defensive stopper. But he's got a real tough assignment tonight in Ryan Baumgart, who has shot 120 free throws and was fouled on this play right here. Nice move by Foster. Good spot here.
Foster picking up the foul, and he's already got 2. You talked about that tough assignment, and he's paying the price with 2 early fouls. Worley puts it to the floor against Welton and gets a roll on the Whirl. He's really got some offensive moves.
He's a little strong, playing a little stronger tonight. That was a tough shot, and he got it down. Just a heck of a move for a sophomore.
Foster, guarded by Baumgart, puts it up over him and leaves it way short, the air ball, and it goes to Iowa City West. The Trojans off to a quick start. They have got a 5-point lead and the ball. Steve Bergman directing off the Trojan bench.
Foster goes out and David Buckley comes in. 2 fouls could be a little bit of a factor there.
Buckley, a good steady player and a good defender for the Huskies. From the free throw line, that is the same place that Kevin Long hit his first one. He's 2 for 2 from right there, and it's 11-4 in favor of Iowa City West.
I don't know if they've missed a shot, but they haven't missed many. And what Hoover has to do is just hang in there, because you're not going to make all your shots. Yeah, they're 5 for 5 from the field right now, West. You just got to weather the storm, continue to do what you're used to doing, get the ball in that guy's hands.
Newman, who had 37% shooting behind the line in the regular season with a 3 for the Huskies to pull them within 4.
You see, shooting's an afterthought for him. He's looking for his teammates first. He doesn't really concentrate on scoring, but to show you how good he is, he still gets 17 a game.
Man, that's the mentality you want in your point guard.
And to be able to get 17 points while looking for others.
Out of the lineup for the Trojans, Chris Hackbarth. And he is replaced by number 14, Ryan Kopstick, who averages 13 points off the bench for the Trojans.
Kind of their Hondo Havlicek there.
Yeah, he is. That's a good analogy for those in the audience old enough to remember. Davis tries to work against Newman. Baumgart to the baseline against Buckley. And the putback is there by Worley.
Great
so far.
Rebound by Worley.
Hoover doesn't have an answer to Glenn Worley so far. Midway through the first quarter of the 4A championship game. It has been all Iowa City thus far. Hoover has not had a lead in this one at a 22nd timeout.
Well, you talked about the defense of Iowa City West, holding opponents to under 40 points.
Boy, great shooting by Iowa City West to get things started. Normally 50% isn't bad, but right now it's got Hoover down by 6.
Yeah, that's a little depressing to have to shoot 50% from the field and be trailing, but it's early in the game, and Worley, if he continues to play like he is right now, he is the factor we talked about if he could do that against the big guys at Hoover, and right now he's done it.
Look at this rebound by the sophomore. Started last year as a freshman. Comes from a good basketball family. His dad, Glenn, played at the University of Iowa under Lute Olson.
A good player like Worley likes a challenge, and tonight he's playing against some big guys. A lot of times he gets stuck playing against someone 6'3". So this is where the great players establish himself, and this may be the night for Glenn Worley to do that.
Hoover down by 6. Rude handles it.
Rude's a three-point shooter and hasn't gotten a shot yet. He's a standstill shooter. They usually have to get some penetration and then dump it to him.
Welton finds the double team, so he puts it back to the outside.
Great defense by Iowa City West right here. Side front in the post, good block out inside.
Welton with an offensive rebound, tries to go up in a crowd, and he's hacked by Worley.
See, that time he took it to Worley. The last time he faded away and got his shot blocked. He has to take the ball to Worley, make contact with his body, hope to draw the foul. That's the way he plays anyway.
Grab your tricks now. Good ball. Grab your tricks.
First foul against Worley, first foul against the Trojans. Hoover's been charged with 2.
Outside shot by Newman. Nice job blocking out by Iowa City West. It kind of takes a long delayed bounce, and TJ really comes in and fights strong for the rebound. Now he says, hey, I'm going strong to the hoop.
David Root is out. Number 44, Andrew Moz, comes on as the free throw is hit by Welton. His first point of the ball game. He got 29 yesterday against Bettendorf after 26 in the quarterfinals against Cedar Rapids, Washington.
Well, he's on the board with 2 points. Yesterday we looked up here and he had 12 by this time.
It's a 4-point lead for the Trojans. They have won state championship in basketball. That was back in '77. Kopstick on the miss. The rebound taken by Moss, knocked away from him, and a jump ball called. And the possession arrow will keep it at the offensive end of the Iowa City West Trojans. Baumgart to trigger. And so far, Hoover's done the job on him.
Nice job on defense. Thought Bunny might have got away with a foul on that tie-up.
Basil Ridgely and Otis Bunning have come to the lineup for Iowa City West. The shot by Kopstick, and the rebound taken by Danielson.
Hoover likes the transition game, and to play transition basketball, you have to play good defense. You can start it off a defensive rebound. Two-man game between T.J. Welton and Newman.
Newman tries to penetrate, loses the ball. The turnover gives it to the Trojans. Baumgart. Nothing going there. Kopstick sees an opening. He'll take the shot. Ryan Kopstick. Lots of offense off the bench for the Trojans during the season, and he gives them a 7-point lead. Iowa City West has done the job on the boards thus far. For the regular season, both teams are out rebounding their opponents by an average of 5 a game. Moz against Ridgely. Off the baseline, the shot won't go by Welton, and it's one and done for the Huskies. Iowa City West really hitting the boards well.
Well, their defense is the reason they're hitting the boards well. When you force a team to take an outside shot, then you have a lot better chance to get that rebound, and they've done a good job keeping the ball from going inside.
Buckley on the foul, his first, Hoover's third. So far, West has out-rebounded Hoover 7-2.
Not something that you might think would happen with the inside players like Danielson and T.J. Welton, but the quickness and the aggressiveness of Iowa City West has allowed them to lead the rebounding right now.
Davis and Jackman back on for West, and Root comes back for Hoover, but first, with a minute 25 left in the first, we have got a 20-second timeout call. The timeout situation in high school basketball this year, 2 20s and 3 fulls, a total of 5 timeouts. And Hoover has already used 2 of them here in this first quarter.
Sometimes there's never enough timeouts.
By the way, we have an audience tonight in California, in Palm Desert, California, because watching the ball game, some fans who coach at the College of the Desert, they are Hoover High grads. Patrick Springer is the head coach at College of the Desert, and who coached at Hoover back in '94 and was on the Iowa Gray team. His assistant is Trent Skinner, whose dad, Don, is an assistant coach with Hoover. Also, the women's coach at College of the Desert, Chris Mozga, is out there, along with Troy Skinner, who's the film editor for the basketball teams out there. So by special hookup, by special permission from KDSM, they worked a satellite feed, and so they're watching the game with their teams tonight at Palm Desert, and we certainly wish them well and hope they're enjoying things. By the way, Patrick Springer, an outstanding young coach, done a great job out there. Let's listen to the Hoover coach, Bobby Sandquist.
And then let's go some strong for a little bit. Screens across and work now. Got a flash right, flash hard. Hey, a lot of game left. Play basketball. Come on, it's all year.
It may be the Trojans with the lead, but Jim, you point out they've done it on some so far unreal shooting.
You know, 67% from the field is certainly a great percentage. They are a good shooting team, but they've only shot around 47%. But they got to come down, and the defense is what it got to make them come down a little bit. And Hoover's not shooting that well right now either.
Kopstick on the inbounds for the Trojans. That is Ridgely. Davis handling it now. 44 is Jackman, and also Otis Bunning, number 40. That makes up the lineup right now for the Trojans. As we approach the final minute of the first quarter, Ridgely off the dribble to score.
Four subs in there right now for the Trojans, getting some rest for their starters, and they score with 4 subs in the game.
They're now 8 out of 12 of the first quarter.
I know Coach Anquist had told me the kind of team that gave him trouble, a team like Roosevelt, good quickness and good defense. I think that's what they're up against tonight. It's a very good defensive team from Iowa City West.
Jackman with the defense there on Danielson. Ridgely, an all-academic conference performer for Iowa City West, handling it. And number 14 is Kopstick. The instant offense off the bench will now back it up. The Trojans, up by 9, will play for the last shot of the quarter.
With Bruce Davis, the only starter in there, see what they can come up with 13 seconds to go.
Ridgely with the penetration, leaves it short. Danielson rips down the rebound. Here is Newman for the last shot of the period.
Ooh, boy, that was close. I thought it was in.
At the end of the first quarter, it's Iowa City West 18 and Des Moines Hoover 9. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
Number 30.
A tornado? No. A new superactive herbicide for cleaner fields all the way through harvest. So powerful you'd have to apply 50% more of any other grass herbicide to get the same control. Yet safe to corn seedlings in challenging weather. And you can put it on now, 2 months ahead of planting. It's stronger, longer, better. Dual 2 Magnum. It's powerful new chemistry.
The Wilsons used to have an electric water heater, but they got tired of paying high energy bills, so they called National Propane for some help. Well, we gave them more than just advice. We gave them this efficient, clean-burning propane water heater free, and we'll do the same for you. Switching to propane can save you up to 50% on your water heating costs, and best of all, it's free. Just call your local National Propane office for details. National Propane, proudly headquartered in Iowa.
Let's check out another tournament fan in the stands, brought to you by Fairway, proud to sponsor the 1998 tournament broadcast.
Thank you, Larry. We're here with a young man from Iowa City West, Brandon Pratt. Pretty good start for the Trojans.
Oh, yeah, we're playing great. Defense is great. We're doing awesome. I love it. Fans are being great. Right here.
What's that?
Number 1, right here. West High. West High, baby.
Okay, Larry, back to you.
Imagine they could use him on the board. Pretty well put together guy.
Whew. They're all strong, even the fans.
Biceps reminded me of you, Jim Hallahan. Underway, second quarter with Iowa City West in the lead at 18-9.
Well, this is a position Hoover hasn't been in a lot. They need to relax and just continue, not relax totally, but there they go. There's the guy they need to have hit a shot.
They had missed 4 in a row until David Rude bangs home a 3.
Bobby Stanquist has elected to put Foster back in the game with a couple fouls, and he is a good athlete. They need him in there for more than just defense. He can rebound. He has great quickness. He can run the floor well on the break.
From outside, Kopstick lets fly, and the rebound by Welton. Hoover a moment ago down by 9, now down by 6, and with the ball, looking for a run of their own. Danielson against Worley, gets inside it. Worley comes back, tries the block, and ties him up.
Ooh, I thought that was a foul at first, and that would have been a second foul. Danielson made a mistake on that to put the ball up, back over his head and not protect it. Watch him right here. That allowed the ball to be blocked cleanly rather than keeping the ball out in front of him and using the body to protect.
And the possession arrow gives it to the Iowa City West Trojans, who lead by 6. Deflected by Foster. Last year, Iowa City West 20-2, so in the last 2 years, they have won 42 ball games and have lost only 3.
Oh, good job by Foster. Good steal.
Trying to take it away from him, Baumgart. Baumgart comes up with it. Foster then trying to get it back.
Did they call a foul on that, or no, he called timeout?
Timeout. Yeah, I wasn't sure either. A 20-second timeout will be used. Timeout charged to Iowa City West. And the last thing number 30 Foster needed was another foul, and yet he was still aggressive.
Right, Bergman thought it was a foul and kind of questioned that, not on that play, but on this play right here as he comes in after the ball.
You see, Baumgart, in fear of the traveling call, calling for the timeout. It's the first timeout used by the Trojans, but they have 4 remaining. Hoover with 3 remaining. There's Steve Bergman in his 8th year at West and his 12th year as a head coach. He was at West Liberty a year, at Monticello for 3, and has really turned around a West High basketball program that had won less than 30 games in the 5 years before he got there.
He's done a remarkable job. Just a tremendous coach.
Ryan Baumgart without a point thus far, and he is averaging 12 on the season. It's been big in this tournament offensively, but so far Hoover's kept him shut down. Worley has been hot, going for the block. Danielson fouls him.
Sophomore against a junior. Those are going to be 2 of the top players returning in the state. Boom. Danielson, the only mistake he makes here is he comes down after he makes the block and continues on, and that's almost always a foul, whether it is or not. You need to keep that hand up and extend and only bend at the wrist when you block those shots.
Greg Danielson, honorable mention all-conference. Looks like banging up an elbow there. The Trojan going over and being assisted by the trainer.
Well, that's Ryan Baumgart, I think.
Baumgart, yeah,
I think that's just probably a blood issue where he just has to get something covered up. He's fine.
Worley to the line. That probably occurred on that last dive on the floor a moment ago. He had 6 points in the first quarter. And that is the first point for the Trojans in the second quarter. It comes a minute and a half into the period. Worley, who is a 68% free throw shooter, drains them both, and it's an 8-point lead for Iowa City West.
Maybe we need to get the starters back up on the scoreboard here so the fans can see how many points they have. See what the score and what players are in the game.
You're right, the starters are on the floor, but they're not listed right now on the board. The drive by Newman.
Nice. He finally got his penetration all the way to the basket. First time tonight he's been able to get that far, that deep.
And it's a 6-point lead for the Trojans.
I know Coach Bergman's not happy about that penetration all the way to the basket. I know they talked about that in their scouting report.
Worley with a good look over Danielson. And it's a 10-point first half for the sophomore, Glenn Worley.
Boy, the big guy has come to play tonight. He's just been outstanding. He has just been outstanding.
Number 1 against number 3 for the 4A championship. Rude, Newman, Foster, Welton, Danielson, the starters on the floor for Hoover. Newman on the penetration. He will go to the line.
Just a little late on the help side there. Boy, I thought he might get into a charge situation, but the defensive player was just a little bit late. Jackman didn't get there in time, and there was a foul called.
First foul on Jackman. Baumgart comes back into the lineup with a bandage around that elbow where he got a little scrape. Bobby Sandquist looks in from the Hoover bench as David Newman, all-conference performer, starting his 75th consecutive ball game in Hoover, goes to the free throw line. At 81%, he doesn't miss many of those.
No, he doesn't. He's a very good offensive player and a very good form shooting. You watch his form. Balance hand doesn't move as he shoots the ball. Good follow through. There's reasons you're good shooters, and the form has a lot to do with it. And practice. And practice.
Trojans have not trailed, and there's a foul on Foster, and that will be his third.
3-0.
Brian Foster, the defensive stopper for the Huskies, with 3 fouls, and probably will be done for the half with 5:21.
Quite possibly, too. They're bringing in Moss, and I don't think Moss will guard Baumgart, so they may have to make a switch with one of their other players.
Moss is 6'5", good size off the bench. Boy, the Trojans have executed brilliantly so far.
They've been outstanding. They have Buckley guarding Baumgart now.
Hackforth on the miss. The rebound by David Buckley.
Trojans are cooling down a little bit. You know, one time they were shooting 67%. I think they've missed a few shots. Still doing a great job, but giving Hoover a chance to get back in the game. Now it's Hoover's chance to get hot.
Newman off the pick by Welton leaves it short, and the rebound is taken down by Kevin Long. And again, I continue to be impressed by the Trojans' quickness to the ball and their rebounding ability.
When you play good defense, your feet are moving. To be a good rebounder, you got to have your feet moving so you can pursue the ball. That's why they're rebounding the ball well.
Long against Danielson. An open look by Davis.
Oh, great block out. The ball hit the floor. Danielson and T.J. Welton did such a good job of blocking out that the ball actually hit the floor before it was rebounded. Those were the rebounds I used to get after they bounced one.
There were only white shirts around that one. It was a Hoover rebound all the way. In the middle, it's Danielson. Now Welton tried to work on Worley, lost the handle. Moss takes it to the lane. Gets the shot.
Nice move by Moss. Comes in off the bench, gives him a big lift there.
And the one-time 8-point lead for the Trojans is now at 5 as Worley holds it high. Long misses, but Davis with the rebound. The putback challenged by Newman, and Newman controls the basketball.
Oh, great save by Newman. It looked like the ball was going to go out of bounds, and David Newman jumped high and grabbed it with his left hand.
Newman against Davis at the other end, and Davis fouls it.
What surprises me, it doesn't surprise me that Newman's penetrating, but West usually has such good defense. I'm surprised they don't have a man planted there to take the charge. They're worried about him dumping it off, I think, and they're trying to go one-on-one with him.
Rude replaces Mons for Hoover. And Kopstick replaces Baumgart for Iowa City West. Good look at the point guard for the Northwestern Wildcats next season, David Newman. Imagine Iowa fans will enjoy the Dean Oliver-David Newman confrontation. I think last year, back to this championship game, Dean Oliver, 38 points. Kyle Galloway, 38 points. As Mason City bested Sioux City West. What a great championship game that was.
Great shootout. And both kids now playing at the University of Iowa. One scholarship, one walk-on. Both had outstanding years.
A one-time 8-point lead, shaved to 4 by Hoover against the Trojans. Davis against Newman. Kopstick being guarded by Rude. Kopstick with the miss. The rebound by Danielson.
Well, you know, early on, West was having some kids make some baskets that hadn't scored much. Right now, they're through a little drought. There's T.J. inside. Good power move, great penetration by Newman. They're back in the ball game now.
His first basket, and yesterday at this time, he already had 6 of them. 2:59 to go in the second period. Hoover is on a roll. And we'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
Someday, Melissa can live a more active life with help from her doctor and her health plan in controlling her diabetes. Someday, our disease management programs will help thousands of people maintain or improve their health. Someday is already here at Wellmark's Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the health improvement company. Now, where are you?
The reason you wouldn't want 99 referees making rules to play basketball is why Iowa can't afford 99 counties making rules to raise livestock. We need only one set of tough and fair rules to protect our air and water, jobs and income. Iowa's livestock industry. Everybody wins when everybody plays by the same rules.
At this stage in the semifinals, T.J. Welton had 6 baskets. He had not had one until this one.
Well, actually, he's got 4 points now. He's playing the way he wants to play now. Penetration by Newman certainly brings it to him, and he took his time that time on Glenn and made a good, strong move and made the basket.
And so, a 6-point run for Hoover. West has missed their last 4 shots.
Well, I think West started out so hot offensively, which then in turn created excitement for them on defense, and it's taken a while for Hoover to adjust to the level of play that West was in the first quarter there. Game's kind of settled down now to 2 pretty evenly matched teams.
Inside, there's contact away from the ball. And a foul is called in Iowa City West on a push.
And I believe that's 2 on Glenn Worley. And this is one thing he's had a little trouble with in terms of picking up some silly fouls. You know, it's okay to get fouls that are right in contact, but when you push off and you react and things like that, and that's just something a young sophomore has to learn, and that's what experience will teach him. You don't want him in foul trouble.
Huskies down 8 early at 20-12. Now with a chance to tie it with a 2 and take the lead with a 3. It's inside Danielson to tie the score.
Great move inside. Pretty good defense that time. Long held his ground, but boy, Danielson made a real strong move inside.
It's an 8-point run for the top-ranked Huskies against the Trojans. Inside Long. Looks to get around Danielson, and Danielson blocked it and saves it.
Great play by Danielson.
Huskies looking for their first lead.
Good pass inside.
Welton trying to get around Worley, and Worley forces him out of bounds.
Whew, that was close.
The Trojan fans were holding their breath. That would have been a third foul had it been a foul.
Great work by Danielson here. Holds his ground. Not only blocks the shot, but recovers the block shot. Falling out of bounds. Flips it back into Newman. Plays like that get big guys excited.
Iowa City West, a hot start. They are cold now. They really need to score on this possession.
And yet they're cold, but the game's tied up. It's not like they're 10 down, so they're in good shape here.
But from a confidence standpoint, this will be a big trip.
Good help by Danielson that time on a drive by Baumgart.
Baumgart, Davis along the back line. Coaxed it, Bunning and Worley up front, and stopped away by Rude.
Hoover 5 for 7 in the second quarter. Iowa City West 1 for 6. And they're doing it with Foster on the bench, which is pretty impressive because he's their defensive stopper. Sometimes when you get a guy stopped early, getting frustrated, it's hard for him to get it going again.
Worley has a good turnaround shot from right there. You give him a look at the basket from that 8 to 10 foot range, he's deadly.
He has a soft touch. He's able to go outside, and of course inside he's very difficult to guard with his quickness too.
Newman can't answer at the other end. The putback too strong by Danielson. Now Welton will try. And coming out with it, Worley, and a jump ball is called. The possession error will give it to the Hoover High Huskies.
Glenn Worley's one of the few guys in the state that could battle T.J. Welton and Danielson on that play and keep him from scoring and come up with a jump ball.
Jackman back in. Worley with those 2 fouls will leave.
They got him out. They got him through the first half with just 2 fouls. That's a key for them.
David Buckley inbounds, looking for Danielson, but Otis Bunning gets in the way, but how Hoover is able to come up with it. Great effort, though, by Otis Bunning. Boy, really a good athletic player.
He has really played well tonight. Been very aggressive on defense, very quick.
Very good jumper also. The lob, Danielson from Welton.
That's tough to stop.
Game tied for the second time.
Good pass by T.J. Welton right over the defensive player Bunton's hands. Now they have Worley out of the game, so Copstick or Baumgart probably needs to come up with a score for him here at the end of the quarter.
Baumgart has not yet scored in the ballgame. In looks the Jackson. Jackson with an effort at his side and scores.
Nice power move inside.
Joe Jackman with his first bucket. It's a big one. It gives the Trojans a lead of 2. Last shot of the quarter won't go. And
oh, boy.
The halftime break. It is Iowa City West, a team that did not trail in the first half, up by 2.
And
quite a first half.
24, a low score.
That's where the Trojans won it. They're a brilliant defensive team. They led by as many as 8. They lead at the break by 2. Halftime score, Iowa City West 26, Des Moines Hoover 24. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
Welcome to a sport coupe with a whole new attitude. Ford ZX2 with more equipment than ever before. Dual airbags to set and air for starters. And now a sport package with fog lamps, spoiler, and alloy wheels at no extra charge. Added up and it's less money than Cavalier. $21.55 less. Now get $19 for $36, $29 for $48, or $1,000 cash back. Ford ZX2. New attitude, more equipment, less money. Drive it at your neighborhood Ford dealer today.
The Wilsons used to have an electric water heater, but they got tired of paying high energy bills, so they called National Propane for some help. Well, we gave them more than just advice. We gave them this efficient, clean-burning propane water heater free, and we'll do the same for you. Switching to propane can save you up to 50% on your water heating costs, and best of all, it's free. Just call your local National Propane office for details. National Propane, proudly headquartered in Iowa.
West never trailed in the first half, and at the half they lead by 2, 26-24. Let's go downstairs to Mo Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention, we have some people we'd like to honor at this time. Winners of the Bernie Zago Award of Merit, and also our Basketball Hall of Fame coaches and players. To do the honors, make the presentation, members of the Board of Control of the Iowa High School Athletic Association, Chuck Van Heck, Athletic Director at Muscatine, Les Dalma, Superintendent of Schools at MOCFV, and Jerry Stillwell, current Chairman of the Board, the Principal at Des Moines East, and of course Steve Waterman, the Superintendent of Schools at Osceola Clark. We all know Bernie Zago, the Executive Director of the IHSAA for well over 25 years, to be a very positive person who has a belief that activities should be an important part of the overall educational program. And that's what this award is all about. These people we're honoring this evening with this award have that same basic philosophy of the importance of activities in the overall program. And we have 4 recipients this evening. The first is the late Bill Holmstrom. Bill, a longtime athletic director at Clinton High School. He was National Athletic Director of the Year honoree. Twice was an Iowa Athletic Director of the Year nominee. In his earlier days, a very successful coach as well. Bill passed away just 2 weeks ago. We all lost a tremendous friend in Bill Holmstrom, as did the young people of Iowa who were touched by his many contributions. Here to accept on behalf of Bill, his wife Jean, son Tim and wife Kathy, their children Casey, Connor, and Abigail, daughter Marta Brooks, sons Andy and David, daughter Christy Montag, and husband Dan, along with children Joshua, Melita, and Olivia. Those of us connected with Iowa High School athletics will always remember Bill Holmstrom. Our next honoree, Barry Johnson, a longtime principal, teacher, coach at Hampton First and now at Hampton Dumont. We'd like him to come forward now with his wife, Jan, to receive the Bernie Zago Award of Merit. Barry Johnson. Chuck McGaffin, over 30 years, Winterset Athletic Director, one of the great track coaches and football coaches in our state's history with many champions. The football field there is named in his honor. Chuck McGaffin of Winterset and his wife, Vi. And Bob White, for over 30 years, he was the athletic director at the Iowa City Public Schools. Another that received National Athletic Director of the Year honors, as well as, of course, State Athletic Director of the Year honors. Bob White, accompanied by wife June. The Bernie Zago Award of Merit winners. Our congratulations to them for their many contributions to high school athletics in our state. And now it's always a pleasure, of course, to introduce new inductees in the Basketball Hall of Fame, both players and coaches. And we begin with the coaches. The first inductee this year, a 20-year veteran of coaching at Cedar Rapids Regis, a tremendous record. 4 state championships during his 20-year reign at Regis. In addition to that, one of the remarkable figures, he brought a team to state 7 consecutive years, an almost unmatched figure. A very successful Cedar Rapids Regis coach, Dick Breitbach, accompanied by his wife, Kitty. And our next coach inductee brought 7 different teams to state from 2 different schools. One of them was a state championship team. That was when he appeared as the coach at Alta. In his later years of coaching, and a total of 24 altogether, he was at Carroll Kemper, bringing 3 or 4 teams from Carroll Kemper to state, also with high finishes. Meet Hall of Fame inductee Al Kosker and his wife, Joy. Our next inductee, 32 years of basketball coaching in the state of Iowa and over 500 victories, certainly one of the highest totals ever. Very successful as the head coach at Tripola. Meet David Ray and his wife, Gloria. He had 6 teams in our state tournament. And another Bob White. This one, first of all, from Iowa Falls. Had 3 or 4 teams from Iowa Falls in our state tournament. And then he went down to the southeastern part of the state, where he brought a team from Eldridge North Scott to state for the first time in the school's history. Over 450 basketball coaching wins at the high school level at those schools in Iowa. Meet Bob White, Hall of Fame inductee, along with his wife, Ann. We also have some great former players with us this evening to honor. And we'll begin with a young man who in the late 70s, early 80 period starred on some of Larry Ireland's fine Ankeny teams. A very strong rebounder, but a great scorer as well. Jay Block was an all-stater, of course, and went on to the University of Northern Iowa, performed there, was one of the outstanding newcomers in his freshman season at UNI. He captained the Panthers 3 consecutive years and made the academic and the all-conference team during his years at UNI. From Ankeny High School, Jay Block, accompanied by his wife, Dawn. Anybody who's followed our state tournament knows about Dubuque Wallert. They've been here many times, and if you know about Dubuque Wallert, you know about the Burbach family. Well, Ted Burbach was the star player on 2 state championship teams. And as a senior, he was named Mr. Basketball and was the MVP of the All-Star game as well. Started at Iowa State, was a backup guard there to NBA star Jeff Hornacek. Then he went on to Western Illinois. A great career for Ted Burbach, another of our Mr. Basketballs in the state back in the early 80s. Ted Burbach, Dubuque Wallert, accompanied by his father, Joseph. This next gentleman could really light it up. He was a scorer at West Waterloo High School. Brought 2 teams to the state, a couple of teams that participated here and lost something like only 4 or 5 games in a 2-year period. He went on to the University of Hawaii. We were sorry he didn't stay closer to home, because he went to the University of Hawaii and set all the records out there. He still owns most of the records at the University of Hawaii. Had a great career, finished up with a 17-point average as a senior, which was about the same that he had as he was a high school performer at Waterloo. Chris Gaines, Hall of Famer from West Waterloo, accompanied by his wife, Diane, another former Mr. Basketball in Iowa. And last but certainly not least, some of those great Clinton St. Mary's teams. This gentleman was a star performer on a couple that won championships in the mid-70s, 1975 and 77 to be exact. And after starring as a 3-year starter at St. Mary's, he was offered a scholarship and accepted it down at Kansas State. Was down there as a member of that team for a couple of years, But then the old injury bug hit, and he was forced to give up his scholarship in his sophomore season. Nevertheless, an outstanding high school career. Meet Hall of Famer Brent Murphy, Clinton St. Mary's, accompanied by his wife, Peggy. How about another hand for these Hall of Famers? 1998 class. We congratulate them and thank them for their contributions to the high school program in our state. Thank you very much.
Halftime of the 4A championship game, Iowa City West 26, Hoover 24. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in a moment after this pause for station identification.
Your Ford dealer is on a roll because great rates on 98s are back and better than ever with low 1.9 financing on 6 popular Fords. Choose the X2, Escort, Contour, Doris, Windstar, or Explorer and get the best financing offer of the year. Low 1.9 financing for up to 36 months. Or choose a longer term and get 2.9 for 48 months. Or great cash back on select models. Great rates on 98, 6 great Fords, 1 great deal at your neighborhood Ford dealer today.
These days, people are putting so many things on burgers, they hardly seem like burgers anymore. At Hardee's, we think it's time to go back to those classic ingredients that make a burger taste great. The kind of things you'll find on Hardee's new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger. 2 big, juicy patties, melted cheese, 8 strips of crispy bacon, lettuce, tomato, and special sauce. The new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger, only at Hardee's.
Your car's brakes, fixed fast. Shocks, fixed fast. Exhaust, fixed fast.
When your car's brakes are broke, shocks are shot, or muffler just isn't muffling anymore, come to Bobin. At Bobin's, we know it's important to you to have your car fixed right and fixed fast. At Bobin's, we'll get your car in quick and fix it fast. Because sometimes you're in a hurry.
Fix right, fix fast, Bobin.
Call Bobin in Independence, Manchester, Waterloo, Coralville, or Cedar Rapids.
Iowa's Powerball, tonight before TV9 News Nightcast.
In the first half of the 4A championship game, 3 times the ball game was tied. At one point, Iowa City West led by 9. But Hoover finished strong in the second period, and the West lead at the half is only 2 at 26-24. Let's go downstairs to John Campbell.
Thank you very much, Larry. Joining me now at halftime of the 4A championship game is the executive director of the Iowa High School Athletic Association, Bernie Sagaw. Bernie, I know you're very busy this week, and I don't know if you got to see much of the first game or even part of this one, but 2 great games here tonight so far.
Great basketball, great talent, and a lot of good enthusiasm by everybody.
I want to ask a silly question maybe. The backboards. We're still using fan backboards in here. I see some square backboards when I cover high school basketball in the eastern part of the state. What is the situation with backboards?
Well, I think we have 23 schools in the state of Iowa that have square boards, as we call them. And the Board of Control just recently ruled them legal for tournaments. But basically, we'll be using these fan shapes for a long time because until we get 50% of our schools using rectangular boards, and that's going to be a while.
Okay, let's go to another subject, wrestling. I was here for that a couple of weeks ago. Man, you pack them in for that.
Well, we had 3 days and had 75,000 paid, and we have been here 6 days, and we'll be probably 85,000 people. So you can tell that's pretty good attendance.
Blessed by pretty good weather, too. You didn't have to fight the big snowstorm the girls did.
That's right. Gee, they had some tough luck on their weather first, yes.
They did. Let's talk a little bit about district football. There was a lot of talk about that last fall and over the winter. Has anything changed?
Well, not at all. Our schools all voted in favor of district football. We vote all those issues. And consequently, a week from this coming Tuesday, all the schools will know what district they're in and who they're going to be playing.
So there could be some changes, you're saying?
Oh, there's always changes, yes.
Bring us up to date on the Hall of Pride. How are things going on that?
Fantastic. We're really getting a great deal of support from our legislators. It's a non-political issue, and it's something good for the state of Iowa. Really and truly, it's going to be one of the most outstanding things we could do as an association.
Now, that will be up in Boone?
Nope, that's going to be built hopefully on the Capitol grounds right here in Des Moines.
Okay.
And that's really where I guess it should be. The Capitol is the #1 tourist place in our state, and we want to be right next to it.
Any kind of a timetable on that?
We're hoping to start by the year 2000.
Okay. Bernie, thank you very much. Congratulations on another great tournament.
Thank you. It's been a great tournament.
Okay. Bernie Sagaw, our guest here between at halftime of the 4A championship game. Larry?
Thank you, John. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
I quit gambling all the time. Till the next bet.
I quit twice a week for a year. I borrowed to gamble.
Gambling is like quicksand. The more you try to get even,
The deeper you get.
I know people going down the same road. I tell them to call.
Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
definitely call.
They understand.
Call. Do it now.
Stop losing.
Call the number. They'll help.
The championship game is a tight one. Iowa City West leading Hoover 26-24. Jim, let's take a look at the first half statistics. And one of the things that really jump out at you is how well that Iowa City West shot the basketball.
Well, they started out just tremendously hot, but their defense has impressed me as much as anything. You wondered, could they play the type of defense that they played all year against a tremendously talented offensive team, and they've held them to 24 points, and yet Glenn Worley has kind of risen his game up, was 5 for 6 from the field, and just did a great job for West.
Worley with 12 points to lead Iowa City West in scoring in the first half, and the leading scorer for the Des Moines Hoover Huskies, David Newman with 7. Greg Danielson is counted with 6. The defense of the Trojans has really been impressive. They gave up 36 to Urbandale in the quarterfinals, 39 to Waterloo East in the semifinals, and now, as you say, they hold the team averaging 70 points to 24 in the first half. So Hoover and Iowa City West with a 26-24 ball game in favor of the Trojans, and right now very much enjoying this ball game, Sharon Worley. She is the mother of Glenn, who has come up with a 12-point first half to lead the Trojans to this 2-point lead at the half. Again, the halftime score, West 26, Hoover 24. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
What makes Iowa Banks the smart choice? We have decades of experience helping people meet their financial goals. And Iowa Banks invest more into their communities than any other financial institution. Iowa Banks have loaned over $4.5 billion to Iowa businesses, creating thousands of new jobs. And Iowa Banks have made more than $4 billion in ag loans to Iowa producers. If you want to be sure you're investing in Iowa, look for this symbol in your financial institution. Then you'll know you've made the smart choice, an Iowa Bank.
When you shop one of the 66 Fairway stores across Iowa, you'll find the finest USDA choice beef cuts in their full-service meat department. Fairway also has an excellent produce department with a wide variety of farm-fresh vegetables and fruit. Look for these specially priced products at Fairway. Capri Sun Coolers, Archway Cookies, Iron Kids Bread, Totino's Pizza, pizza rolls and stuffed nachos, and Cool Whip. You'll find everything you need at Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
The 1998 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament is brought to you in part by Wellmark, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Iowa. You just can't beat the Blues. By the Iowa Bankers Association and your local Iowa bank. Make the smart choice, an Iowa bank. By Ag Value Growth Foundation, our future's on the table. And by Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
Ray Morgan and Jim Hallahan at Vets Auditorium. We take a look at first half highlights, Jim. We're going to show a couple of baskets by David Newman, the gifted point guard of the Huskies. The story here, I think, how hard he had to work for those shots.
Yeah, they've done a good job defensively on him, and yet they're not given the help they need at the end of the play, and he's able to get all the way to the basket that time for a layup. You don't want that to happen against a half-court defense.
22, Bruce Davis provides the defense.
And when he doesn't go all the way, this is what he does best, is get the ball to T.J. Welton, who makes a great power move inside, and who's really been balled up quite a bit tonight by the defense by Iowa City West.
The offensive story for the Trojans, big number 54, the sophomore, Glenn Worley.
Well, Glenn Worley gives you the outside shot, and you have to respect him a little bit because of his quickness, and that time he gets a shot over Danielson.
That 8 to 10-footer just belongs to Worley.
Soft touch, soft shooter. Here he is again. Actually, this is out a little bit farther, and again, Danielson's a little hesitant to go out and get him, and I think you're going to have to go out there and make him put the ball on the floor.
Trojans by 2 at the half. We'll be back at Vets Auditorium in just a moment.
When you shop one of the 66 Fairway stores across Iowa, you'll find the finest USDA choice beef cuts in their full-service meat department. Fairway also has an excellent produce department with a wide variety of farm-fresh vegetables and fruit. Look for these specially priced products at Fairway. Capri Sun Coolers, Archway Cookies, Iron Kids Bread, Totino's Pizza, pizza rolls and stuffed nachos, and Cool Whip. You'll find everything you need at Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
I expect my kids to have all the opportunities I did, and more.
What do you expect out of life?
I expect honesty.
Respect.
We never know what to expect.
Tell us what you expect out of life, and Farm Bureau Insurance will help you get there with opportunities for a lifetime of financial security, wherever life takes you.
I expect to live to be 101, 102, 100.
2 halves left in this 4A championship game, and in the 1998 boys high school basketball season, Rock Valley, Iowa Falls, and Cedar Rapids Prairie have already won championships. Bobby Sandquist gathers his Huskies around. They come in here undefeated, top-seeded, 23-0, top-ranked in the state, and this their 6th state tournament appearance. Iowa City West comes in at 22-1, ranked number 3, and this their 5th state appearance, their 4th in a row.
Well, they've done a great job. It's going to be very interesting to watch the first couple minutes of the half to see what adjustments Hoover's going to make to try to get more scoring opportunities to open up the floor. And if Iowa City West is able to start out like they did the first half with the hot shooting.
The Hoover Huskies in their new white uniforms and the green of the Trojans under Steve Bergman. Hoover with 24 Newman, 30 Foster, 34 Root, 50 Welton, and 54 Danielson. And West with 20 Baumgart, 22 Davis, 24 Hackbarth, 42 Long, and 54 Worley. And Baumgart has not scored, but he has dished out 5 assists in the first half.
Right, and he's a team player. That's 10 points to his team. That's all that counts.
And as Baumgart with the ball there, he does so many things, and so many of them at the defensive end of the floor to make the Trojans the successful team they are. Worley wants to take Danielson inside. Foster trying to help out. Worley recovers.
That might have been just a little bit farther out, but you notice that time that Danielson really challenged his shot that time. Made Worley lift it up a little bit higher and missed his shot.
Foster to the corner.
Picked up his dribble. That's one thing you don't want to do against a good defensive team, because then you get stuck. Inside.
The double team, and Baumgart forces the ball back into the outside. Here's Foster with the dish for Welton.
Oh, boy, nice shot. The contact on that shot, too. I think Worley was lucky he didn't get called for a foul. That's the way Hoover wants to get good things going. Penetration, get the ball to T.J. Welton inside and have him score.
4th tie of the game. Hackbarth, now Davis. Worley trying to back down Danielson, shoots over him, and he's 0 for 2 to start this half after a 5 of 6 shooting first half.
Another real tough shot. Actually was forced a little bit. Penetration by Newman over to Foster. Air ball in the first half, three-pointer in the second half. Hoover's kind of taken a little charge of the momentum here and picked up their defensive intensity, which has helped them on the offensive end, too.
Hoover's first lead on the 3 by Brian Foster.
This is one of those games that halftime came at the right time for Hoover. Gave him a chance to regroup and talk about what they wanted to do here.
Davis with the open look, the left-hander on the miss. The offensive rebound by Kevin Long. Long goes right back up with it, and the rebound is taken by Newman. It's a cold shooting start for the Trojans in the second half. Newman in deep. Beautiful block by Hackbarth.
That was a great rebound at the other end by Long over the back and really didn't foul anybody. This is a great job.
The penetration by Baumgart. The rebound by Danielson.
Danielson's really played well tonight. He's been a key guy. There's Foster, the left-hander, going down the left lane. It's just so great to have a left-handed athlete when you run the fast break, filling that left lane for you.
Baumgart on the foul. Now, Hoover had not led in the ball game until this 3 by Brian Foster. Their first lead coming at 6:22 in the third quarter. We're now at 5:36, and the Huskies maintain the lead of 3, 29-26.
I'm surprised Foster hasn't shot more three-pointers throughout the season, but they have so many weapons he doesn't need to, and that's why he's been such a good player.
Inside Danielson, rejected by Worley, stumbling out of bounds with it. Baumgart.
That was a smart play, though, by Baumgart. He could have very easily tried to save it and throw it back in bounds, which could have resulted in a layup. He just took it out, said, okay, take it out of bounds, we'll get our defense set.
Long and Hackbarth have gone out for West. Jackman is in, as is Popestick. Here's Danielson. Rebound, Baumgart. Baumgart trying to force the ball in on the post, and a foul called.
T.J. Welton almost made a good play getting around on defense. Jackman, but got called maybe for a little push-off as he went around.
It's his first foul. Team fouls in the half or even at 1. Coke stick looking in for Worley. Danielson knocking it away, but a good recovery by Worley. And then a foul on Danielson.
See, that's the problem. If you go out and challenge Worley outside, now he pump faked. He forced 2 shots early in the half, but this time he pump faked, went around his man and got the foul on Danielson trying to make up the defense.
Let's make it on Newman instead. Newman from one side and Danielson from behind. Newman got the foul. We take a look at the shooting so far. West looking for their first basket of this third quarter, but they score for the first time on the free throw by Worley.
I think this is going to be a game of mini runs. I don't expect anyone to have a huge run. That's what Hoover's been on, is a little mini run. We got him back in the lead, but not so much that all of a sudden it's still a one-point game with a couple free throws by Glenn Worley. Really been impressed with Iowa City West defense on a great Hoover team offensively.
Steve Bergman says if you don't play defense, you don't play at Iowa City West. On the drive, Foster. And Jackman right there to provide the defense. Foster trying to get it back.
Woo! Look at the action out there.
Boy, does he hustle. Welton got Worley in the air, scored it, and Worley fouled in. T.J. Welton, a huge move.
It was just a great play, and Worley did a great job on defense for 2 of the fakes and finally got kind of up in the air on the third one and got a foul. It's a big play because I believe that's the 3rd foul on Worley. Now he's going out.
Otis Bunning takes the place of Worley, who picks up his 3rd foul at 4:49 in the 3rd. Welton tries to complete the 3-point play. He is a 72% free throw shooter. Jim, in this tournament, that is only his 3rd miss, and that was his 18th attempt.
Wow. You know, Bunning comes in for Worley, and I'll tell you what, Bunning has done a great job for them. Been very active. Doesn't play like a sub, he plays like a starter.
Doesn't score a lot, but he makes so many things happen at the defensive
great
floor.
pass.
Oh,
there
beauty.
it is. Great pass by Bunning. Got Bumgarner his first basket. That gives them a lift right now. Have Worley go out of the game and have Bunning come in and do a nice job.
Rude looks for Danielson. Bunning with the rebound. Out of bounds, it belongs to Hoover.
That was the case where Danielson, being a left-hander, wanted so much to turn to his right shoulder that even though the defense was there, he continued to turn that way. He'll have to learn to turn the other way and use that right hand some around the basket, too.
It's Hoover by 1. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
He thought I didn't know he was gambling again. He lied to me. He wouldn't quit, and he wouldn't get help. I was angry, desperate. So I called Bets off because I needed help. If someone you care about has a gambling problem and you're sitting there thinking you're helpless, you're wrong. You're not to blame, and you're not alone. You can get help. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF and get help. I can hear you calling, inviting me, and exciting me. Iowa, you make me smile. Wherever you look in Iowa, family fun is waiting, and it's sure to bring you a smile. Call today for a free copy of the Iowa Travel Guide. 1-800-345-IOWA. Iowa, you make me smile.
Back at Veterans Auditorium, big offensive play by Otis Bunning. Made a beautiful pass a moment ago.
Boy, right by the outstretched hands of Danielson. Caught Foster with his back on the cut by Bumgarner. Just a great play for a sub coming in who takes over for Worley.
Welton on the inbound from Foster.
But without Worley in there, it makes it a little easier for T.J. Welton, who's now up to 10 points and has taken over the lead of scoring for his team.
You got to figure Steve Bergman cannot keep Worley on the bench too long.
Well, I think you'll see that Iowa City West will continue to play pretty good defense, and I'd be surprised if Hoover gets away from him too much at this point.
The penetration by Kopstick.
Nice move by Kopstick.
Newman finds the open man, Rude.
Newman looked like he was going to charge, and he put the brakes on and found Rude in the corner.
You don't see many guys with that kind of court savvy.
No, usually that's an offensive charge.
Foster finds the open man, Danielson.
Nice job by Danielson not putting the ball on the floor after the penetration on the baseline by Foster.
Jackman guarded by Welton. Baumgart finds Jackman. Danielson blocks it. Foster with a rebound.
Good play by the big guy.
Big guy's made some defensive plays.
Ooh, in and out on Newman. A great drive, but again, he got all the way to the basket without anyone stepping in front of him.
Hope stick for three.
Good block out by T.J. Welton that time. Again, the ball bounced on the floor and was rebounded by a guard. Oh, it was a little too crowded that time for David to get through there.
And he does everything but complete the drive, but Kopstick wants to try again, and he will have a chance at the free throw line. Ryan Kopstick took the ball to the glass well, just didn't get it to go down.
That all started with a penetration by David Newman, and this time they stopped him on penetration by the crowd and knocked the ball out of his hands. Here comes Worley back in the game. Guess Coach Bergman decided he wants to get him back in there for the last couple minutes of this quarter.
Welton with his second foul at the free throw line. Kopstick on the year an 85% free throw shooter. Kopstick off the bench for 6 points in this one. 24 points in the tournament so far. And the 85% shooter puts it down like they were in practice.
Well, he's doing a nice job for him tonight.
Another great game, another great championship game. 1 point game. Kopstick bottling up Rude. Now Davis watching Newman. Newman tries to jet by him, and the rebound taken by Worley. Taken away from him, and a tied jump ball called. T.J. Welton, good job to reach in, not foul, and get the tie.
Right, he just held his ground and grabbed the ball with both hands and did a nice job there.
Number 34, Dassel Ridgely comes back into the lineup for Iowa City West.
Well, they just haven't been able to get the three-pointers for David Rude tonight. Haven't been able to free him up. Iowa City West done a great job identifying him as a three-point shooter and just not giving him any open looks.
That is Rude in the corner. Look at Ridgely's defensive stance.
Well, they got him out there almost a half court on defense.
Newman now against Baumgart, who Steve Bergman says is the best defensive player that's ever played for him. This is from a man who wants everybody to play lots of defense. Newman has the shot blocked, but a foul called on Baumgart.
Good recovery by Baumgart on the drive, and looked like he really blocked the shot cleanly, but he must have got him on the arms.
And so with a minute 15 to go in the third, Bobby Sandquist on the bench for the Hoover High Huskies sees his very dependable shooter, David Newman, go to the free throw line. Brian Foster back in, replacing David Rude.
I think it was in the sub-state game, but boy, Hoover had a very low-scoring, close game with Valley that actually went overtime. So they have played in this type of game, which is important by the time you get to the championship, if you can be ready for anything.
In fact, it was a Newman 15-footer at the buzzer that won it for Hoover and put them in the state tournament. And Des Moines School has not won a state tournament championship since 1978. Newman 2 for 2 at the line, gives Hoover a 3-point lead. And into the lineup for the Huskies, Danielson comes back on, and leaving will be Andrew Mon. Baumgart trying to break down Foster. Worley against Danielson. Kopstick. Rebound by Newman. Good look to Danielson, out of bounds, though, off his fingertips, and the ball goes back to the Trojans.
Good job by Glenn Worley there. He held his defensive position and forced a turnover by Danielson.
Jackman comes back on for the Trojans, replacing Bunning.
Both teams have good benches, and I think that's a key factor in any championship game, and they're getting good play off their bench.
Closing minutes of the third period. A 3-point lead for Des Moines Hoover.
Baumgart has great quickness and balance. He changes direction so well. Twice, Foster's fallen down trying to guard him on his cuts. He's just an outstanding player. And that's why he's a good defensive player, too, because of his balance.
Calling out a play is Baumgart.
Little back screen.
Taken away by Danielson on the shot by Worley. Baumgart recovers. Would have counted had it gone. It did not. That's the end of the third quarter with the score Hoover 37 and Iowa City West 34. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
Your Ford dealer is on a roll because great rates on 98s are back and better than ever with low 1.9 financing on 6 popular Fords. Choose the X2, Escort, Contour, Doris, Windstar, or Explorer and get the best financing offer of the year. Low 1.9 financing for up to 36 months. Or choose a longer term and get 2.9 for 48 months. Or great cash back on select models. Great rates on 98, 6 great Fords, 1 great deal at your neighborhood Ford dealer today.
The Wilsons used to have an electric water heater, but they got tired of paying high energy bills, so they called National Propane for some help. Well, we gave them more than just advice. We gave them this efficient, clean-burning propane water heater free, and we'll do the same for you. Switching to propane can save you up to 50% on your water heating costs, and best of all, it's free. Just call your local National Propane office for details. National Propane, proudly headquartered in Iowa.
The excitement is always high here at the tournament, and it's the fans who make much of that excitement. Let's go to John Campbell for a Fairways fan in the stands.
Thank you, Larry. Joining me now from Hoover High School, C.J. Frazier. Pretty good ball game, C.J.
Yeah, it is. A little too close for me. Hopefully we can pull away in the fourth quarter.
Did you think Hoover would be farther ahead at this point?
Oh, yeah. I thought we'd be up by maybe 20 or 25, but they're playing a good game.
What's the key to Hoover to winning this game?
Dave Newman and T.J. Welton.
All right. Hey, listen, for coming on, how about a T-shirt from Fairway?
All right, thank you.
Okay, good enough. Back to you, Larry.
Final period underway. It is Hoover by 3 over Iowa City West. The Trojans with the ball. Worley against the double team, spins, and Danielson going for the block, fouls it.
Boy, Worley was really aggressive on that post-up. He was just spread out. It looked like he was taking up one half the floor. Got the ball, made a great strong move. Good block by Danielson, but got him on the arm. Watch Worley in there. Great job of posting up and squaring up to the ball. Makes a nice inside pivot. Continues to move. Pretty good block there, really.
Team fouls are even at 3 here in this first minute of the fourth quarter. Worley with great touch for a big guy. 15 points in the ball game, 5 of 5 from the line.
Well, we talked about would he be able to rise up and have a great game, and he's having one.
With the rebound, T.J. Welton. Lowest Hoover point output of the year, 51 against Des Moines Dowling. They had been held to 37 through the first 3 quarters by the tenacious defense of Iowa City West. Welton off his seeker.
That's good defense. Boy, I tell you what, that's outstanding defense right there.
I tell you what, there have been very few teams that have come to state and put on the kind of defense that man's team has.
Iowa City shooting 36%, Hoover 40%. It's a great defensive battle.
On the year, Hoover shoots 54%. Worley double dribbles, off at turnovers, back to the Huskies.
Talk about defense. That was a great defensive sequence for Hoover. Well, it looked like Worley might get a basket. Danielson held his position and caused him to travel.
Hoover, a team that averages 70 points, hits 54% of their shots, and in this tournament, they've had one 69% performance and one 59% performance.
You had a feeling it wouldn't be that way tonight. Oh, boy, look out.
What a shot by David Rude, and he's got a chance at a three-point play. A huge basket for Hoover as it gives them their biggest lead of the night with 6:57 to go.
He has a chance for a 4-point play. That was ruled a three-pointer. Now with the free throw, it could be a 4-point play. They ran a set play.
But first a timeout, and we'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
Okay. Did we pack the camping equipment?
Sure did.
The coolers?
Yep.
The suitcases?
Got them. Now, where are we going to fit?
Do you need more room when you travel? Then play Winnebago, a new scratch game from the Iowa Lottery. 5 lucky players could drive home a new Winnebago Brave. Plus, the required state and federal withholding taxes will be paid by the lottery.
Have you seen the kids?
Oh. Are you in here? Who's back here?
When you shop one of the 66 Fairway stores across Iowa, you'll find the finest USDA choice beef cuts in their full-service meat department. Fairway also has an excellent produce department with a wide variety of farm-fresh vegetables and fruits. Look for these specially priced products: Mama Mary's Pizza, Gatorade, Wells Blue Bunny Ice Cream, Barley's Fruit Snacks, 7-Up products, Girly Nuts, and Frito-Lay products. Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
David Rude, the 6-foot senior, second-team All-Conference, hits a huge three-pointer to give his team their biggest lead of the game and has a chance to make it a 4-point play.
It's amazing how many times three-point shooters aren't great free throw shooters. He's a 63% free throw shooter. I think sometimes they're too close. They need to back up. And he missed the free throw.
You got it. Worley with a rebound. Trojans down by 5.
We keep talking about defense, but how about the job Foster's done on Baumgart? Held him down scoring-wise a good bit than what he's been doing the last couple games.
How about the job Foster's done on everybody in this tournament? But it's a big three answer by Kopstick.
They might have to switch him over on Kopstick because Kopstick has really had a nice game.
Kopstick has really stepped up big in the second half of this one. He has now hit 7 second-half points. Kopstick with the takeaway. Kopstick trying to finish the play. Rebound by Jackman.
Well, a quick 5-point turnaround ties the game up, 40-all. 6 minutes to go. A great championship game. Let's just keep playing. Let's don't let this game in, Larry.
Yeah, let's add some quarters. I agree.
That's
This
right.
is entertaining basketball at its best.
3-point field goal is pretty close. 3 for 8 for West, 4 for 9 for Hoover.
Newman against Baumgart.
Great
Finds
pass.
Wilson.
Another play on defense on Iowa City West and a travel. I'm not so sure that ball wasn't up around that basket, but the action was so fast, I think it got missed.
Otis Bunning back into the lineup for Iowa City West. Steve Bergman making the change and applauding off the Trojan bench.
So many times in this tournament, these championship games, we've seen one team real big and the other team not having any size. It's nice to see two teams with quality inside players going against each other.
And for coaches who spend all those practice sessions preaching defense, they're getting a nice object lesson if their players are watching this one. What a block by Worley. And a foul is called on Baumgart.
Oh, man. He blocked that shot from behind his defensive player who was guarding Danielson.
Hit. Out of bounds.
Watch this, boy. Good, strong move inside. Danielson thinks he's got his man beat, but guess who?
Oh, wow.
Glenn Worley.
Third foul on Baumgart. 15 foul against the Trojans.
Had a hard time getting that ball in bounds.
Here's Newman against Baumgart. Danielson on the miss. Newman on the other side for the rebound.
Great rebound by Newman. This would be a big three for him.
Welton is fouled. Bunning and Worley were both there.
Here we go.
Who'd they call it on?
They called it on Worley, and that's his 4th. Worley with 4 fouls with 5 minutes and 9 seconds left in regulation.
I think Coach Bergman will take him out just for a minute so he doesn't make 2 quick fouls at the same time, but don't expect him to be out of the game very long.
Jackman is reported to the scorer's table, ready to come in.
I'd say in about a minute he'll be back in.
Welton's free throw gives the Huskies a 1-point lead.
That was a big offensive rebound by Newman there. Keep that play alive.
A dozen for Welton. The Hoover lead is apparent, 42-40.
Well, should we stay with our prediction that if West holds the Huskies under 50, they'll win? And if the Huskies get more than 50, is that enough?
And if they do, they will have done something that no one has done to Hoover, hold them under 50. Kopic watched by Rude.
Close to a 5-second call and closely guarded.
Baumgart against Foster. What a matchup that's been. Baumgart goes in and scores anyway.
Unbelievable. Put the ball around the defensive man's hand. Well, that was a great. Greg Danielson's way up in the air. He moved the ball from one side to the other side and put it in the hole. That was a great basket.
Newman trying to go one-on-one with Baumgart.
I wouldn't mind seeing him just stop right there and pull up at the free throw line.
Foster with a miss. Offensive rebound by Danielson, and Danielson is fouled.
Pretty good foul that time by Bunny, and he really kept him from scoring. He's going to make him earn those 2 points. If he doesn't do that, he's going to make the 2 points. Well, here's an unbelievable move by Baumgart. Look at this. Reaches around the arms of Greg Danielson. It's like a quarterback throwing the pass underneath a rushing defensive end's hands. That was just a great play.
Kopic charged on the foul. That's his second to the line, Danielson.
Boy, he's just been a 53% free throw shooter. That looks pretty good right there.
Hoover by 2 as Danielson hits them both. Danielson with 10.
I think Danielson's become a senior tonight. He's no longer a junior. I think Worley skipped his junior year, and he's a senior, too.
Boy, I think you're right. Bunny tries to move on the baseline, and he is fouled.
Good defense that time by Hoover, and they forced the drive. And sometimes you want to do that. You want a guy get going and get out of control.
Foul called on Brian Foster. That will be his 4th. But, Jim, he really did a terrific defensive job. Saddled with 3 fouls most of the ball game.
Sure did. Here's Worley back in. I think he was out a minute and 8 seconds.
Team fouls, 7 against West and 5 against Hoover. Worley against the man with 4 fouls, gets around him, trying to save it, Danielson. Danielson back at the other end with a foul.
Oh, boy.
His third foul.
We might want to take another look at that series if we get a chance. A lot of things happen there.
Let's do it.
Danielson makes a big save. Worley gets it, kind of does a hop, skip, and a jump. And then it goes inside and he calls for a foul. Tough break for Hoover right there. Good break for Iowa City West. See if they can take advantage of the break.
Trojans behind by 2.
Good job on our camera crew bringing that play back to us.
They really have been outstanding in this tournament. Thanks to all of them. Everybody working real hard. We sure appreciate it. Jackman comes back for Iowa City West with 3:19 to go in regulation in the 4A championship game.
You know, both teams have played pretty much all man-to-man defense. Really done a good job. Now they're doing a little trapping. Got him trapped in the corner.
And they try to take it away, but Worley comes out of nowhere to save it and to score it.
Wow.
What a play.
What a great play by Worley. Looked like a turnover. It turned into a basket.
Boy, he has great sense of where the ball is, doesn't he?
Sure does, and has great quickness.
Another tie. 4th tie of the 4th quarter.
Boy, he almost had a steal right there, too.
Newman behind the screen of Danielson.
A little short on those shots.
Danielson tries to save. Too tall for Newman, and Baumgart comes down with it.
3-on-2. They got the numbers. Oh, he fell down. Another great play by Worley. Saved the ball, falling down, rolled it on the floor like a bowling ball over to the corner to Kopic.
Do you believe this finish? Worley in deep. A foul call. Both Danielson and Welton were there. And it's going to be on Welton, his 3rd.
Worley's mom's got to get out and walk around a little bit on that right there.
Yeah, she can't sit through this one. Too hard to do that.
She's got to be very proud of her son. He's just been tremendous tonight.
Well, a lot of college prospects have been developed over the state of Iowa, especially here in the 90s. And looks like we're seeing a couple of them. Newman, obviously, already committed. Worley, you know the college coaches will be pounding at his door in a year.
And I'll tell you what, college coaches like to see guys play for state championships because there's that something extra special when you find somebody who wins and wins a state championship.
Worley puts the Trojans back into the lead by 1.
Nice block out. It's a big possession for Hoover. Hoover needs to get a good shot at this, get a good shot, have a chance. They're going to take a timeout and talk about this possession. Bobby feels this is a real important possession.
We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
In Iowa, you don't have to be a farmer to appreciate farming. For every job on the farm, there are 3 jobs off the farm because of it. That's nearly 450,000 jobs and $77 billion in sales. Money that pays taxes, builds roads, supports schools, and provides income for our neighbors and friends. Agriculture isn't just about farmers. It's about all of us. You can help it grow. Get the facts. Call for a free brochure today.
Are you all right?
It's Dad.
I know, honey. He has a problem.
He's giggling, isn't he?
Yes.
You should call that way of that talk place.
He hasn't. But I have. For you and me. Because we need a normal life. And it's helping.
I hope Dad calls bets off.
I do too, honey. I do too.
Glenn Worley has been the man for the Iowa City West Trojans.
Well, he's done a great job, but I'll tell you, Kopstick and Bumgarn has been tremendous, too. They've really just played great defense and unselfish basketball.
Worley with 18 points.
Yeah, and you really threw out the statistics, the field goal percentages and those things. Everything's pretty even. It just gets down to who can make the plays down here at the end.
Hoover tries to regain the lead. Good look for Welton. Here's Danielson against Jackman. And Worley rips down yet another rebound.
Yeah, and he also bothered him on his shot, too. Danielson's got to lift that ball a little bit higher, get a little more arch on it, and get it up over the defensive player's hands.
West has a 1-point lead. They've got the ball a little bit at 40 to go.
Now, again, they have a cutting offense. Are they trying to score, or are they holding the ball?
Kopstick, Jackman, Worley, Baumgart, and Jackman on the floor for the Trojans.
Worley out that high handling the ball. If Danielson comes all the way out and get him, he could go take it all the way to the basket.
With a foul, Rude, he will send Kopstick to the line. Steve Bergman said earlier this week that his team was really struggling with chemistry about 6 weeks ago. He said they have really grown up a lot over the last month. Well, tonight, they have reached full maturity.
Well, they have played well.
Kopstick is an 85% free throw shooter who is 2 of 2 in this game.
Ooh, that gives Hoover a little breathing room now. They just need a 2-pointer to take the lead. A lot of difference in coming down, being 3 down.
Newman all the way to the rack.
Blocked by Bumgarn.
Hoover's got 3 timeouts left. Iowa City West with 2. And the foul on Jackman.
Yeah, he reached around. You could see the foul there. Well, that was a fortunate break for Hoover to get that ball back after a great defensive play by Bumgarn, blocking Newman's shot cleanly on the drive. He is a good defensive player. He has a great stance, great balance.
Welton at the line. He's been there 22 times in this tournament and has hit 19 of them.
Nice touch.
He ties it up with 57 seconds to go. Welton, a senior, desperately wants to play Division I basketball. Not being recruited yet, but he has probably opened some eyes in this tournament.
50 seconds to go, tie ball game, 45 all.
Both teams have timeouts if they wish to use them. Possession arrow points towards Hoover.
Hoover's got a block out on the shot. They can't afford to give Worley a chance to get an offensive rebound if Iowa City West does happen to miss a shot. Definitely going to hold that ball for 1 shot. They don't have to worry about a 35-second shot clock. Here we go.
And both teams have so many players with scoring ability. Here we go, Jim. Kopstick will take the shot. We'll leave it short.
Still 4 seconds to go. Plenty of time.
Baumgart. Worley tries to get it, and then we've got a foul call.
No time. No time on the clock here.
The question is, did time expire?
No.
And the answer is that it did. Or did it? Nope, we got a foul. There is a foul call with no time on the clock. And the foul is called on Jackman, or excuse me, on Moz for Hoover. So Worley can win it for Iowa City West right here. He does. Iowa City West, the 4A champion. Hoover in stunned disbelief. Celebration on one side. They are stunned on the Hoover bench.
Unbelievable way to end the game.
Moz called for the foul in the last half a second. No time left. Worley goes in line. There's Bobby Sandquist, the shot coach of the Hoover High Huskies. And there's the winner, Steve Bergman. Worley, 19 points, but the biggest one was the last one. Wow. The Huskies are stunned. Their only loss of the year. Let's look for the foul. Worley grabs it, and there was the foul call. And it was called on Root. It was called on Danielson. 54 rather than 44. Danielson called on that last heartbreaking foul for Hoover. Iowa City West, the 4A champs. That's the end of the game with the score. Iowa City West 46 and Hoover 45. We'll be back after a word from your local station.
A tornado? No. A new superactive herbicide for cleaner fields all the way through harvest. So powerful you'd have to apply 50% more of any other grass herbicide to get the same control. It's safe to corn seedlings in challenging weather, and you can put it on now, 2 months ahead of planting. It's stronger, longer, better. Dual 2 Magnum. It's powerful new chemistry.
These days, people are putting so many things on burgers, they hardly seem like burgers anymore. At Hardee's, we think it's time to go back to those classic ingredients that make a burger taste great. The kind of things you'll find on Hardee's new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger. 2 big, juicy patties, melted cheese, 8 strips of crispy bacon, lettuce, tomato, and special sauce. The new Classic Bacon Double Cheeseburger, only at Hardee's. Have you outgrown your computer?
No, it's probably just not fast enough for me.
Yeah, it's just so slow.
Then bring it to Computer Renaissance and we'll buy it.
That sounds like a plan. That's a good plan.
Or trade it in on a newer computer that's more your speed.
Well, that's even better yet.
That'd be wonderful.
So don't sit on your old computer. Sell it to us.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be fantastic.
Computer Renaissance. We buy, sell, and trade used and new computer equipment.
Sharon Worley in the center of your screen. Her son Glenn steps to the free throw line with no time on the clock. Foul called on the last play of the ball game against Hoover's David Rood. Worley calmly steps to the free throw line, sinks it, and Iowa City West wins the 4A title. Nuts go down to Mo Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to wrap up our 1998 tournament with the awards for these 2 finalists in Class 4A. And to do the presentation, members of the Board of Control of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. To my far right is Steve Waterman, Superintendent of Schools, Osceola Clark. In the center is Jerry Stillwell, Principal, Des Moines East, current chairperson of the board. And next to Mr. Stillwell is Kirk Rentschler, Superintendent of Schools at Solon. Completing an outstanding 1998 season as state runner-up, the Huskies from Des Moines Hoover and Coach Bobby Sandquist. Winning the state championship for the second time in the school's history, the Iowa City West Trojans. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the presentation of the Sportsmanship Award presented by the Iowa High School Athletic Association, the Iowa Broadcasters Association, and the Iowa Newspaper Association. All week long, members of the media have been watching the actions of the coaches, the players, and the fans of the participating schools to judge which have been the best sports during the entire tournament. And to announce the winner of the Sportsmanship Award representing the Iowa Newspaper Association, Arvid Huseman, publisher of the Creston News Advertiser.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Iowa Broadcasters Association and the Iowa Newspaper Association are proud to present the 4A Sportsmanship Award to Sioux City West.
Also in connection with the awarding of the trophy at Sioux City West, there will be a $500 scholarship for a boy involved in activities and for a girl involved in activities as selected by the school. And these two $500 scholarships are presented courtesy of Hy-Vee. Each year at our tournament, the Iowa Bankers Association presents the Student Achievers Award. In each class, each of the 8 teams involved have the opportunity to nominate one individual for this award. It's a $500 scholarship award presented by the Iowa Bankers Association. It's not just athletic ability alone. Academics are involved. Also, somebody that's very community and church-minded. And the individual that we have selected this year for the 4A Student Achievers Award will receive his scholarship from John Sorensen, the president of the Iowa Bankers Association, and Eileen Thompson, vice president of cash management at Magna Bank in Indianola. Let me tell you about the recipient. A grade point average of 3.97, an ACT of 27, member of the National Honor Society, an all-state football quarterback, named the Offensive Basketball Player of the Year in his conference. Also a standout in tennis, member of Student Council, a boys state representative. He coaches a 5th grade boys team in his church's kids club. He's a youth group member and a Youth Sunday leader. And our winner is from Indianola High School, Jeff Borkman. And now the all-tournament team. And here to do the honors, John Campbell, sports director of KCRG TV in Cedar Rapids.
Thank you, Bo. Throughout this year's tournament, members of the media have been evaluating the play of the tournament teams. Now it's time to honor the best performers of the Class 4A tournament. Joining me to present this year's certificates is the governor of the state of Iowa, the Honorable Terry E. Branstad. Your Class 4A All-Tournament team. From Des Moines, Hoover, Greg Danielson. From Iowa City West, Ryan Baumgart. From Iowa City West, Glenn Worley. We have co-captains. The first co-captain, T.J. Welton, Des Moines Hoover. And the other co-captain of your 4A All-Tournament team from Des Moines Hoover, David Newman.
Greg Danielson's foul, the free throw by Glenn Worley, and Iowa City West, with no time on the clock, wins the ball game 46-45. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
When you shop one of the 66 Fairway stores across Iowa, you'll find the finest USDA choice beef cuts in their full-service meat department. Fairway also has an excellent produce department with a wide variety of farm-fresh vegetables and fruits. Look for these specially priced products at Fairway. Capri Sun Coolers, Archway Cookies, Iron Kids Bread, Totino's Pizza, pizza rolls and stuffed nachos, and Cool Whip. You'll find everything you need at Fairway, Iowa's most economical food store.
I expect my kids to have all the opportunities I did, and more.
What do you expect out of life?
I expect honesty.
Respect.
We never know what to expect.
Tell us what you expect out of life, and Farm Bureau Insurance will help you get there with opportunities for a lifetime of financial security, wherever life takes you.
I expect to live to be 101, 102, 100.
One more look at the last play. Watch the clock and watch the foul. The foul called on Danielson, sending Worley to the line.
0.5 of a second. Tough call.
Tough indeed. And we'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
What makes Iowa banks the smart choice? We have decades of experience helping people meet their financial goals. And Iowa banks invest more into their communities than any other financial institution. Iowa banks have loaned over $4.5 billion to Iowa businesses, creating thousands of new jobs. And Iowa banks have made more than $4 billion in ag loans to Iowa producers. If you want to be sure you're investing in Iowa, look for this symbol in your financial institution. Then you'll know you've made the smart choice, an Iowa bank.
More ways to save, more reasons to smile. Hy-Vee's the store that fits my style. It's so convenient when I'm on the go. Always low prices and faces I know. That's my Hy-Vee. Shop Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
Iowa City West claims the 4A championship with a 46-45 victory over Hoover. Hoover suffering their only loss of the year in the final second of the championship game. We hope that you've enjoyed this telecast of the 1998 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament. Our thanks to our stat man, Jason Eslinger, and thanks also to Jim Hallahan and to John Campbell. This is Larry Morgan saying good evening from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines.
The 1998 Iowa Boys State High
I would like to welcome everyone to tonight's victory celebration as we recognize the efforts of these young men on stage. Winning the second state basketball championship at West High School was no easy task, but I think most of these athletes knew this going into last weekend. The effort given as a total team effort from the head coach down through the last player off the bench was an effort where everyone had a role to play and they each contributed throughout the course of the tournament. It didn't matter whether it was during the games that were being played or during the preparations for the upcoming opponent. They each had a role and they each had to do it. Before we get into tonight's program, I have a short video here that I think everyone will enjoy watching, kind of set the tone for tonight's program. So sit back and enjoy. I'd like to thank Sue Field for setting up that video tonight. I thought it would be a really great way to start off the program, and certainly was a fitting climax to an outstanding basketball season for West Side. At this time, I would like to introduce Sherry Carpenter. Sherry is the Club West chair, and I'd also at this time like to thank Club West for their continued support, especially throughout the course of the state basketball tournament, but also for providing the refreshments and some of the decorations here tonight. So at this time, Sherry Carpenter.
On behalf of Club West, we want to congratulate Coach Bergman, the coaching staff, and all of the basketball players on a wonderful, exciting season they've given us. And as the sign on Ryan Bosberg's house says, thanks.
Dr. Ortbright has not mentioned West Side Athletic events unless there's a good reason. Some of you may recall 2 years ago when we were in the state finals playing Macy City, where he drove his family to Chicago to catch an airplane for the spring break, go back to